Mountain God needs no donations, only worship please. Chapter 59. Fan Fiction by Azazyel. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel for listening and patreon.com/Azazyel to read all of his stories. Even as I nonchalantly snuffed out Reimu's instinctive Yin-Yang bomb she threw at my face at being surprised teleported, I was more focused on the face of Kunou, who had gone completely pale and was looking at me with obvious fear. Which, to be fair, it was kinda warranted with how I beat their chief goddess like an unwanted stepchild and then spent the last few weeks using their palace and home as a target to yeet intruders I didn't want in Gensokyo. Kunou, daughter of Yasaka. I spoke deeply and she flinched under my heavy gaze, and I continued. You have collected one of the snow globes I placed within my dungeon. What do you wish? Kunou visibly took a breath, but before she could finally speak up, Reimu cut in, speaking bluntly. Rebuild my damned shrine and house after you threw people hard enough that they broke the barriers around it and destroyed my house. I blinked, losing all my gravitas as I looked at the fuming Miko, and my lips twitched before I retorted. I didn't throw anyone through your barrier. I only threw Yukari really hard into the enemies and she was sent nowhere near your shrine's location. I started making her eye twitch as she muttered something about someone threw people through her house. And then I had a thought as I added bluntly. It was probably that drunk Onisuka. She has also been all but hiding for some reason. She has been staying quietly with the rest of the Oni who have been happily drinking the sake rivers I made. Reimu's face twitched and I saw her hands close in a fist as she muttered under her breath harshly. I am going to exterminate that Oni. So while the murderous shrine maiden was swearing an eternal vengeance upon the drunkard Oni, I looked back to Kunou, who had seemingly taken the change in tone to gain her courage as she spoke gracefully from the years of training she likely received. I wish for you to give the Shinto chief goddesses Amaterasu her divinity back so she can leave our house. She stated firmly. Disregarding my absolute disdain of the Shinto for sealing my sibling away in Fuji, I couldn't give Amaterasu her divinity back due to her sun domain and divinity acting as the core power supply for the realm of Orario. So I answered frankly. Amaterasu is my enemy. I will not restore her to power. You may make another choice, cute little kitsune. I teased slightly at the end. And from my side, I saw Sakuya giving me a look with a raised eyebrow as the kitsune slightly blushed, but Kunou took a breath and then spoke with some amount of pleading in her voice. Lord Moria. Please just give her something to get her out of my house. She is stealing all my snacks, she deletes the saves on my video games, and she is a completely useless hikineet who has given up on life and is just an anchor in our lives. My lips twitched remembering Amaterasu acting not too unlike Aqua from Konosuba but was just even more useless, so I sighed and after a moment I pulled deeply on my mana to form a spark of divinity within my hands, and as Kunou looked on in awe I sealed the spark of divinity within a seal before I handed it over. I did kinda drop a major dumpster fire into one of the best DXD waifu's lap. Getting into one of the two nine-tailed MILF kitsune's good books wouldn't cost me anything. There. A spark of divinity, Amaterasu can now be the goddess of lit candles. I said with a bright smile as Kunou's face twitched at the domain I offered to her, and she knew this was the best I was going to offer. Hell, if she asked for someone to return to life I would have happily agreed. If she asked for an artifact of insane power I would happily thrown it into her hands. But helping Amaterasu was something I didn't want to really do, but getting her a weak-ass domain that will make her back into a true goddess so Yasaka could rightfully kick her ass out and back onto the curb. Now that tickled my thoughts and I could feel Mama Tiamat's humorous feelings towards the thought as well. After all, taking a sun goddess down to a goddess of candles. Now that was a cruel irony. Now I spoke before my face froze for a moment as a gap opened up in my church and I saw Ran exit out of it before face-planting into her bed in apparent exhaustion. Sorry, anyway you have made your wish, you may still find more snow globes if you wish to earn more wishes. But Reimu, I already patched out your bullshit floating cheat, so don't bother trying to cheat. I finished and then waved my hands, and in a split moment their magic was sealed and their forms were encased in a 5-meter thick giant Twinkie. Wind is good. The angle is right. I thought, and then with another hand wave a loud cracking noise rang out as I teleported. The giant Twinkie holding the two girls in a tight embrace of sweet goodness was teleported directly into Yasaka's massive sitting room, with the Twinkie's yummy guts splattering everywhere and even splattering some of that white sweetness into Yasaka's open kimono onto her breasts, making the kitsune MILF rear back in shock as Kunou and Reimu silently stared at one another, completely covered in white icing. Even as I watched Yasaka fretting over her daughter at meeting me. And getting some amount of my frustration with how she arrived, I heard Sakuya speak slightly teasingly. "Ho. So you still have an interest in Kitsune, huh?" Obviously referring to the times in which Ran and I were rather close and something more could have bloomed. Should Yukari not have been given the Gojo/Tamamo treatment and sealed away into the earth for a while, straining our relationship? I just chuckled and spoke with an easy smile. "Sakuya, you would love to pet those ears and tails just as much as I would." And the silver-haired maid just fondly rolled her eyes in response. But she didn't refute my words though.